Hello, my name is Michael Hoefer, and together with my colleagues Bryce Schumacher and Professor Stephen Voida, we are presenting our paper, Personal Dream Informatics, a Self-Information Systems Model of Dream Engagement. So to start off, we know that dreaming is a universal phenomenon. In the past, many cultures were very deeply engaged with their dreams, and although we may have lost that, dreaming still plays a big role either for good or for bad. It's a big symptom of PTSD, and the prevalence of nightmares in the population is estimated to be 9 to 15% on a monthly basis, and maybe 5% of individuals will experience weekly nightmares. So it is certainly it's a component of the human experience. And dream scientists are still trying to understand exactly how dreaming works. They have a ways to go, and I think that actually, as HCI researchers, we can play a fundamental role in not only dream research, but really into helping people engage with dreams in a beneficial way and supporting that engagement. And so far in HCI, we see that the focus has been on dream engineering. And so sort of seeing the body as an interface to the dream and actually manipulating the body to manipulate the dream. And this is a fascinating line of research, but another sort of different approach I want to propose is this idea where we can actually just foster positive engagement with dreams for good outcomes. And so I actually want to pull from the field of personal informatics and self-tracking and quantified self, and we know that there's been a stage-based model and a lived informatics model, and to sort of help to understand some of these kind of like Fitbit or Apple Watch or these different systems where we're gathering data about our lives, and then their system helps individuals to make sense of that and improve their lives. And so I think we can do the same thing with dreaming and dream engagement, and I think we can actually do that with dream engineering. I think we can actually do both of them. So I'm sort of calling this approach personal dream informatics, and sort of the study of the entire system that an individual would be engaged with when it comes to dreaming. So we're calling here dreaming a self-information system. So just a very high-level system to help us learn something about the self. And it's something that happens inside of us, and we have this self-information system. So the main research questions that we had in this initial study were to try to understand these systems. What are the components and the processes that they maintain? And what are the outcomes? Why are individuals motivated to track their dreams and be engaged in dream tracking? What are the benefits? What are the downsides? And lastly, what's the role of technology? How can us as HCI researchers sort of help people to better engage with their dreams in ways that they would like to? And so to do that, we actually turned to sort of what I'll call the superusers of dreams. So we actually recruited from the two subreddits, the r/dreams and r/lucid dreaming, to get respondents for our survey. And so we had a pretty large survey. We had 281 respondents. About 115 of them were dream trackers. The rest were sort of general population. And we asked about basic dreaming info, experiences with dream tracking, how they track their dreams, social aspects, lucid dreaming, as well as sleep hygiene and other sleep habits. So we really wanted to get a comprehensive view of the system in which individuals engage with their dreams. Okay, so why are people tracking their dreams? So the most common one was that individuals just have wild dream experiences, vivid dream experiences, and they wanted to capture those. Many individuals also wanted to learn to lucid dream, which is when you become aware that you are dreaming inside your dream. Others just simply wanted to remember dreams and also to understand oneself. So here's a couple quotes that talk about not wanting to lose a rich dream experience, and then also wanting to learn more. And I like this phrase of a unique window into my unconscious. So barriers to dream engagement. Many individuals found that it was just time consuming. It was difficult to remember a dream. And individuals also didn't want to sort of revisit a negative dream. So the dream tracking experience was sort of very similar to the dream experience itself. So we see here a quote about how it just takes a long time and can interrupt sleep. And then also the challenge of actually recording a dream when it's a very sort of difficult to describe experience. So it's hard just to write it down in text. And so we sort of synthesized all these different aspects into this dream information system diagram. And so we know that there are things happening in the brain, and while dream researchers are still working on the interaction between the conscious and subconscious mind, an important aspect, I think, for HCI researchers is the short period of time between waking up and when you forget your dream. So we call that the dream set, so that the persistence of the dream experience into long-term memory. There's a very short amount of time when you can actually capture your dream. And we see these different components that we're going to kind of jump into next. So the first one is the sleep-wake environment. So we know that dream recall primarily happens in the bedroom. This is no big surprise. And we see that individuals use a variety of different ways of waking up. And so that's going to be triggering that dream set. And so that's kind of when we have the chance to sort of capture the dream experience. And so we really want to understand what conditions are people waking up in so we can design for that. And so if we look at the technology, we actually see individuals use a lot of different technologies and it changes. So here's a quote describing one person who used to write down their dreams and they switched to audio recordings. Then they just did mental notes and now they're doing shorthand bullet points. And so we see that very similar to other personal informatics contexts, individuals kind of create their own homebrew sorts of tracking systems. And we also see the role of socialization and social contexts. So individuals will talk with dreams with their friends and family, both for beneficial and fun reasons, as well as to help get over nightmares and sort of work through dream experiences. Okay, so we also did an app review of the current dream tracking applications and sort of compared that with different features suggested by survey respondents. And so there's a lot of different features that we talk a little bit about in the paper. And so, yeah, we'll get to this more later, but maybe most important, I want to highlight this idea of multimodal dream tracking. So these experiences are very tough to capture. So how can we as HCI researchers help to let people capture these experiences? And also the role of maybe NLP or other analysis algorithms to identify patterns in dream narratives. We also noticed that dream narratives are kind of an underappreciated form of personal data. So this is a quote of an individual who's afraid of changing dream apps for fear of losing the stuff that they've written down. In our review, we actually found this app, Dreamboard, that went offline in 2017 and had a whole host of negative reviews because individuals actually did lose their dream reports. So we think this is something to be taken seriously. So lastly, we sort of synthesized our findings into the system dynamics model, drawing from business dynamics. And so we see dreams sort of move from left to right. So all dreams are experienced, some are recalled, and some are recorded. And so we can highlight two feedback loops that we could potentially intervene in. The logbook effect is where you're tracking your dreams and your frequency therefore increases just by more tracking. But we also see that more tracking can interrupt sleep, which could potentially reduce the number of dreams that you have. So it's important for us to be aware of the system dynamics in play when we're dealing with dream systems. And lastly, we think that we can, moving forward, we can conduct interviews with clinicians to sort of replicate therapist-guided methods with technology, develop methods to make the most of that ephemeral dream set, develop this technology to capture indescribable experiences, and eventually move into community informatics where we can sort of help the dream researchers and sort of connect individuals based on dream experiences, or maybe do artificial intelligence to correlate other lifestyle factors with dream narratives. Okay, with this I want to close by thanking my colleagues at the TMI lab, Professor Stephen Voida and Bryce Schumacher. I also want to thank the University of Colorado Boulder Beverly Sears Graduate Research Fund. Okay, thank you very much.